This is Sportscentre.
Hey, I'm Marissa Burdon. We are over a quarter of the way through the NHL season, and the Toronto Maple Leafs are in last position. No, we don't mean the last wildcard spot. And no, not last in the division either. The Leafs stand alone in last place in the Eastern Conference following a Buffalo win yesterday. So, what is going on? Head coach Craig Berube discussed after the latest loss against the Habs.
Well, what I've seen a few times this year is when, we get down a couple goals at times. This happened in the second period where, we go out there and we don't play with any urgency or any confidence in the second period because we get down a couple of goals. And it's like, that's an excuse all day long for me. This is a veteran hockey team. It's inexcusable, and it's on me too. It's on all of us. And, with a veteran team like that shouldn't happen.
Yeah, I guess what else is he going to say? Yeah, it is unacceptable. Guys, what do I do with my tickets? This is brutal. Berube also discussed injuries, and while nobody wants to hear excuses, the Leafs do absolutely have a laundry list of injuries. Even with Scott Laughton and Sammy Blais returning to the lineup, Austin Matthews, Chris Tanev, Anthony Stolars, Brandon Carlo, and Nick Waugh still occupy the Leafs injury list. In other words, the Leafs top scorer, top defender, top goalie, a guy you traded a first-round pick for, and a guy you traded Mitch Marner for. And the Marner one was more of a take what you can get circumstance, but we love a symbolic narrative when it comes to Mitchie. Speaking of the Carlo trade, that is one of the many moves that has made Toronto's future look a little more bleak. The Leafs only have 2 of their original draft picks remaining for this year, along with a 6th rounder they acquired from the Sharks, and they also traded away their 1st and 3rd in 2027. So without much tradable draft capital and a prospect pool that is now relatively shallow, it may be tough sledding ahead for Leafs Nation. We'll let TSN's Director of Scouting Craig Button explain.
Here's the Toronto Maple Leafs, who haven't even had a measure of playoff success. And now they're staring into the abyss of what does the future look like when we don't have any young players, when we don't have any players that can come in. We saw the Toronto Maple Leafs with Matthews and Marner and Nylander and Morgan Riley for a long period of time, be one of the best teams in National Hockey when it came to Core 4, and they were tracking up. They're not tracking up anymore, Gino. They're tracking down. And that's not an easy path to get off of. And for Brad Treliving, this is a significant challenge. Because quite frankly, they're not a contender. And the future, without a lot of good young players, doesn't look bright.
Thanks, Uncle Button. You usually cheer me up, but now you've let me down. To the association now, and if you have not been paying attention to the Raptors this season, it's time to take notice. Because they've been on a heater. Sunday, the Raptors railed off their 7th straight win, their longest winning streak since February of 2022. And I know it's early to be looking at the standings, but this stretch of dominance has put Toronto near the top of the Eastern Conference. Yeah, there's only 2 games separating 2nd from 9th, but we are looking on the bright side. They're playing in a weak Eastern Conference, but the numbers don't lie. And the stats show that the Raptors have been an elite offensive team through 17 straight games. And we may know a lot more if this Raptors team is for real by the end of the week. They're in the middle of a stretch of 4 games in 6 days. And tonight they face the Cavaliers in the second night of a back-to-back. The Cavs are currently first to win the East on FanDuel at plus 250, and they're 2-point favorites tonight in Toronto. But the Raptors have had success against Cleveland this season. They're already 2-0 against the Cavs with both wins coming on the road. So a win tonight can send a message to the rest of the league that the Raps should not be taken lightly. Which is kind of nice, the Leafs are down, the Raps are up, at least we stay balanced here in Toronto, right? To football now, and it's safe to say this NFL season has been a roller coaster through 12 weeks. Who predicted the Chiefs would be 3rd in their division and fighting for their playoff lives? Or the Ravens would start 1-5? Or the Bears would be leading the NFC North? But maybe the most surprising story of 2025 so far are the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers are in San Francisco tonight for Monday Night Football, and before the season began, you may have thought that this would have been a dud of a primetime game. But after Tampa's loss on Sunday Night Football, Carolina is now tied for first in the NFC South, with a chance to move ahead of the Bucs tonight. Yeah, the same Panthers who have not made the playoffs in 8 years, and the same Panthers who have won just 7 games in the last 2 seasons combined. Now, the odds are still stacked against them. According to FanDuel, they are still favored to miss the playoffs, and the Bucs are still the favorites to win the division. But a win tonight against the 49ers can go a long way towards changing that. FanDuel has Carolina as significant underdogs tonight to win on Monday Night Football, but if we've learned anything through 12 weeks of this NFL season, it's to expect the unexpected. I wouldn't even talk about the Bills and what they've been doing, so, Time now for my favorite segment and yours, that we love sports today.
Why we love sports today.
Mini putt is supposed to be simple, just put the ball in the hole. But some of these mini putt courses have gone out of control.
Don't throw up.
Okay, that hole needs to come with some Dramamine because what the hell? I'd be on the floor. And sometimes you're just better off picking up your ball and moving on to the next hole. I would never want to go mini putting with this guy again. Okay, first of all, I don't need to see your dogs like that, bro. That's it for me today. We'll see you. We're picking tomorrow at 3 Eastern. No Pacific. Have a good one.